As we all collectively bring 2023 to a close, it's time for the NBA trade season to start heating back up again. Who on the Pelicans is unhappy? What are the Pelicans team needs? And above all, who is available on the NBA trade market? I'm Jacob Compton with Pels Press, and let's get you in the know. Kyra Lewis Jr. and his team have been extremely unhappy with his playing time and opportunities in New Orleans. So much so that Lewis requested to be sent down to the G League so he could put his talents on display in the NBA G League Showcase. If it were solely up to both sides, from all reports, he would be playing somewhere else in February. Someone else who might not be unhappy with their role, but rather their contract situation, is Jonas Valanciunas. JV and his representatives made it known to the Pelicans and pretty much everyone else that the front office needs to get this contract done, that he wants a lengthy contract extension. Jonas has certainly played well for the Pelicans, but this could genuinely cause the team to want to move on from the Lithuanian center in the coming months. The frontcourt defense for the Pelicans has been a need for years now. Jackson Hayes didn't fix it. Derek Favors didn't fix it. There's been a gaping hole of defense and shot blocking since the man with one eyebrow went ahead and left the 504. Jarrett Allen has recently been tied to the Pelicans, some interest both ways that it seems, and he certainly is going to fill that gap of a defensive-minded center. My biggest fear with a guy like Allen is simply that he needs a true point guard to make him offensively relevant. And I'm not convinced the Pelicans have that on their current roster, so the move is a questionable one to me. This move would essentially be trading offense for defense and would almost certainly involve JV to Cleveland or to a third team to facilitate the deal. Other names that are attainable are guys like Nick Claxton of the Nets and Jeremy Grant of the Trailblazers, and those players come with their own problems, Jeremy Grant's contract being a big one in those two examples. The Pelicans need someone who provides a high level of basketball IQ and facilitation, especially in late game situations. CJ, BI, and others have not demonstrated the ability to do so, as the team is now 0-6 in games decided by 3 points or less this season. There are certainly players who fit the picture available who are honestly past their primes. Former New Orleans player Chris Paul kind of tops that list for me. While the $30 million salary is going to turn a lot of people off and away from him being on the team, there are certainly still value in his game and the services that he could provide for the Pelicans, as well as it could be a really cool homecoming story. And honestly, it could be a chance to get a really good player for pennies on the dollar who can contribute, but is definitely past his prime. A name that has been in some talks so far has been Tyus Jones. And honestly, the Pelicans should really consider him. And I know that Jones is a veteran. He has great shooting splits. And honestly, he commits a very low turnover rate. The thing that makes me nervous about Jones is that he is a negative at times on the defensive side of the ball. And he's a smaller guard. And I don't know if I want another smaller guard on the Pelicans. There are many other ways that you could help the Pels roster with Washington. You could expand the trade to include it with a guy like Gafford or Corey Kispert, who would help with your rim protection and your shooting, respectively. The Wizards seem to be targeting young players with potential or draft assets in general, and the Pelicans have a lot of those. So there could be a really good deal that helps both teams in the long run, and I really hope that these two teams really get together and address the needs that they both want coming up in this trade deadline as well. Great NBA teams invest in three-point shooting. The Pelicans, without Matt Ryan, and honestly with him, still need to acquire back-end roster shooting because in today's NBA landscape, it's a have to, not a want to. Names like Gary Trent Jr., Alec Burks, and dare I say it, Lonzo Ball could all help the Pelicans bolster their three-point shooting. The Pelicans don't have to make any of these moves, but I truly believe this roster needs to get better if we're going to be the serious NBA contenders that we want to be. In my opinion, the greatest of these being a point guard-like presence on the roster. Make sure to stay up to date on all things Pelicans by checking out our post-game recaps by Chrissy. I'm Jacob, and now you're in the know.